Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to our channel. Hey, if you're new here, please click that like, that subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell notification. This way you get notified every time I upload a video. Well, what's today's video about? Well, we got this beautiful blue, and it is beautiful blue, 2024 Road Glide. Look at that, huh? Well, what are we doing? In this video, we're going to be doing the 1K service, and I'm going to show you how to do it, because you know what? It's a brand new motorcycle. Everybody's seen me do the services on up to 23s. Well, now it's time for the 24, and they're a little bit different. They're a Milwaukee 8, but as far as like draining the fluids, your motor, your trans, your primary, it's the same. It's the same oil filter that's on all your other M8s. But what's different with the 1K on this is you have a radiator, liquid cooled heads. And there's your radiator. It's on the left side of the bike. You can tell because there is the coil and your kickstand, and there's the reservoir for your coolant. So there's that, and it's a 2024. Not a lot of people seen them. There's not a lot of information out there on these bikes. So we're going to go over it together and do it. I mean, the fill ports for your transmission, your motor are the same. And for the primary, it's the same. So we're going to do it. We're going to get it done. And we're going to work together. And I'm going to show you everything you're going to need. Well, what are you going to need? Well, you're going to need a good drain pan. You don't have to use this one. I got this one from Harley. I like it because I could drain all three at the same time and keep going. You're going to need a couple rags. I use 3. You're going to need a T27 socket. You're going to need, excuse me, a 5/8 socket here, right underneath here. I got to find it with my 5/8 socket here for your motor. Then right here, a 5/8 socket for your transmission. Oil filter is in the same location. And what do we use? Well, we're going to be using the AMSOIL primary oil, the AMSOIL transmission, and the AMSOIL 2050. We're going to replace all the O-rings on the drain plugs, and we're going to replace the oil filter. So let me get that done, and I'll show you the rest of the 1K service together. So people have asked in the past, what is so important about doing the 1K service? It's only got 1,000 miles on that oil and everything. Well, I'll tell you why. One is, you take a look at these drain plugs. There's your motor, there's your trans, and there's your primary. Yep. You know, there's no metal filings on the motor, none on the transmission, and very fine ones on the primary, which is to be expected. And if we look at the oils here, this here's the primary oil. You can see that it's got a little metallic sheen to it. And why is that? Because your clutch plates and the steel plates are wearing in, and it's going to happen. Over time, it's going to get less and less. But here is the motor oil, and there's really no metal particles in it. So the motor's doing in really good shape. And that's what's important about it, is you're letting the break-in happen, and you're getting the oil done, and now you're just, you know, now you can ride the bike and have fun. One of the things I just noticed, talk about differences, on the 2024s and 23s and older, is the horn used to be here on touring bikes. Softails, this is where the coil was, and the coil was back up inside of here on the touring bikes. Now they relocated the horn down here, which is actually kind of interesting where they put it. A good friend of mine, Tweedledee, if you haven't seen his video on his horn relocation on his Road Glide ST, it's actually pretty brilliant, and where he put it and everything. Go check him out. Go check out his channel and see that video. I'm going to do my best to link that video in the description here. Brilliant the way he did it, and you know, props to Tweedle for doing that. But used to be, here's another difference for all you service guys that like to work on your own bike. Used to be able to disconnect the fuel pump, turn the bike on, try and start it. Wouldn't start because of no fuel pressure. Now, right here at the quick disconnect, like on the Softails, there's a little Schrader valve right here that you would press to depressurize the fuel system to disconnect your fuel tank from the quick disconnect. That's awesome that they did that on the touring bikes. So all three are draining. I did forget, you do need another tool. I apologize. Hey, I make mistakes. And what we need is a 3/8 Allen wrench. Yep, a 3/8 Allen wrench, or a T-handle, or an Allen socket. And what's that for? That is for your transmission service port, where the dipstick also is, and tells you the level of transmission fluid. So we're just going to pop that out, move it to the side, just like the motor dipstick and fill port. We're just going to pull that out and move it to the side. And that, you know, it's draining. So we're letting this all drain. There's other things we have to do. I do have a 1K checklist, but let me pull it out and we'll go over that real quick of what you need to do on a 1K, which I will have to be doing. Oh, I got to print out a new one. Yep, I'm all out of those, so I have to print out a new one tomorrow. Make sure I don't forget it so I can fill it out. But things, I have to check the spark plugs, you know, see how the bike is running. 2, we're going to remove the air cleaner cover, inspect our air cleaner, make sure that's good. We're going to be doing the fall away on the front end, which is checking your, I'm sorry, not your fall away, your return, which is checking your steering neck bearings on that. We're going to look at tire condition. We're going to look at the brake condition. We're going to measure the moisture content in your rear brakes and in the front brakes. We have to measure that. We're going to be looking at the rear brake pads as well as the front brake pads. We're going to readjust the clutch, get that clutch adjustment done. And that's all I can remember off the top of my head. But again, tomorrow I'll have that checklist. I'll show it to you. And then I'll have it printed out so he'll have it for his records, which is important for warranty purposes. I thought I had more. I ran out. I've been that busy doing a lot of 1Ks, or actually, no, I haven't been doing a lot of 1Ks, so I've been printing out the 5, 10s, and 15s, and some 20s. So I have to work on getting some 1Ks tomorrow. I'll print them out at work and bring them home. But one of the things you want to do with your drain plugs is always replace the O-rings on here. Some people say you can reuse them, and I always say don't reuse O-rings, don't reuse gaskets. Why take the chance? Look, if you buy them full retail, they're $1 a piece. I buy them in bulk, so I think I pay like $10 for 50 of them, so it's really not that much. So I mean, oh yeah, we're going to check all the switches, make sure all the lights light, make sure the brake light works, make sure the radio controls work. We're going to test all the functions on the hand controls, test the functions of run and brake and turn on the back, and run, brake, and turn up front, and high beam, low beam, make sure the horn goes beep, beep, road runner. So yeah, so that's basically it for a 1K. I just remembered a couple other things that we have to do on a 1K service that I didn't mention. One is a check critical fasteners. Now, what's a critical fastener? Excellent question. I've asked master Harley Davidson technicians. I have asked engineers, believe it or not, Harley Davidson engineers. I have asked them and up in Milwaukee and at different events, and nobody could tell me for sure what a critical fastener is. So to me, on a motorcycle, a critical fastener is anything that I could see and touch. If I could touch that nut or that bolt or that nut and bolt combination, I'm going to put a wrench on it or a socket, and I'm going to check it and make sure it's good and tight. Also, with that goes, check the belt tension. Now, if you look here, all right, these are an 1/8 inch increments. It's a quick cheat. With 10 pounds of pressure, it should be no more than 1/8 of an inch. And as you can see, we are good. It's not too tight and it's not too loose. The belt tension's good, because if it's too loose, you'll cause premature wear on your belt and your pulleys, on your final drive pulley, at the wheel, and also behind your primary, which is a pain in the neck to change, because your outer inner primary comes off with your clutch, your compensator, blah blah blah, all that comes off to get to that pulley. So keep that in mind. We're going to take a look at the condition of our back tire. Tread wear looks good. They're not cupping or anything, so to be expected on 1,000 miles. We're going to look at the front tire. Again, tread wear looks good. There's no cupping or anything. We will check tire pressure a little later on. We'll take a look at our brake pads. We need a flashlight. Bam. Oh, that looks wonderful. Inboard, outboard brake pads look great on this side. Inboard, outboard brake pads look good over here as well. Now we're going to cheat on the back brake, checking that. So what I do, without removing the bag, is I'll take a flashlight and I'll look up in there on the outboard and the inboard pad. Those look great. The shocks look good, but we're going to pull the bags off to take a look at those shocks as well, because to me, those shock bolts are a critical fastener. So we're going to check those. We're going to check our axles. We're going to check the stabilizer links, or the engine drag link here. Basically, if I can see the bolt, I'm going to check it. Axles are a big one. Fenders are another big one. Handlebars are another big one. But we're not going to disassemble the bike to check something. The only thing I'm taking off to look are these bags. So we're going to get that done. Take a look around. And of course, we're going to check everything else in here. We have another project we're going to do on this bike. That's going to be another video that you're going to have to wait and see. I hate to say it like that, guys, but I don't want to ruin the fun. But I don't want to say it's something we need to get a handle on. Hint. If you could guess what that is, you're a smart fella. Or smart person. So, yeah, I mean, look at this bike. It's beautiful. I love it. So, yeah, all the fluids are drained. Pro tip. I'm not big on making messes. Even though I have this here, that you can find these on Amazon. I buy mine from Harley. They go right into the primary. It's basically a funnel for your primary. And I think it's something like 38 quarts or ounce quarts. 38 quarts. That's a lot. No, sorry. 38 ounces. But I always just throw a quart of oil in there. And what you're looking for is, when it's full, that the oil is at the bottom of the clutch basket. And we're going to, like I said, we're going to adjust the clutch. It's a 2-piece clutch. You collapse it at the on the right side. I'll show you where that is. And it's really simple. You slide the collar up, you find the little red piece, you pinch it, push it through, collapse it to give you the slack in the cable. You loosen this jam nut, you back this out, and then you bring it in till you feel tension, and then go back a half a turn, lock down your jam nut, and then pick up the slack in your cable, and your clutch is properly adjusted. Also, you want to get yourself one of these. They're great for redirecting the oil away from the motor. With the horn here, it's putting this at an uphill. So what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to loosen up this horn, move the horn out of the way so that could ramp down and run the fluid out. So I'm going to pick up my kickstand. I'm going to move my drain pan underneath to prevent any mess. Another thing you want to do is prime your oil filter. What do I mean by prime your oil filter? You want to pour oil inside your oil filter and then lubricate the outside of your filter. And how tight should your oil filter be? Hand tight plus a quarter turn. That's it. No more and no less. We'll get back to this again shortly. For filling your transmission, get yourself a good funnel for filling the motor oil. As you can see, I already have 1 quart already done with a neck. So with the funnel, you pour in 1 quart of AMSOIL transmission fluid, full synthetic. I start with 4.5 quarts in the motor. Once I change the filter, I'll fill the motor. Then, excuse me, sorry. Then I start the bike, let the oil pressure build up, let it run for a little bit, shut it down and recheck your fluid level. Let me get the rest of this oil change done, and then we'll continue on to 1K. All right, crew, so we're done with the oil. So I want to pause at this section and show you this. The transmission dipstick is plastic, and the case here is aluminum. So by nature, it's going to want a cross thread going in. So be careful, because if you cross thread this in and you got to muscle it in, it should be able to go all the way down by hand. But if you muscle that in and cross thread it, you're not going to get it back out, number one. And if you do, you're going to have to drill it out, and then you're going to be opening up the transmission to get all those little itty bitty plastic pieces out. So be careful. Don't over tighten it, number one. Number two, run it in by hand so you don't cross thread it. It's that simple. So the oil service and some of this 1K service is already done. While we're here, while the bike's up, I'm gonna check the moisture in the rear brakes. I'm gonna pull the saddlebags off. I'm gonna take a look at the shocks, and I'm gonna show you those shocks. I did adjust the clutch, and what you got to do is you got to take this piece off, and this comes off from around the this piece here. Let me get in there. There you go. You have to get it off of the reservoir for the coolant. Then this pops off the frame, and you take it off your clutch cable. You slide this up. Like I said, you pinch the red piece, you collapse it down, it's spring loaded, close it so it holds it, go on the other side and do your clutch adjustment. Once your clutch adjustment's done, you come over here and you let the slack out, and away you go. And that's it. So let me get these bags off. Well, you know what? Let's start this thing. I'm going to show you how to use this start. You turn it on, and then watch this. One touch. You just touch that start button and let it go. You don't have to hold it like on the older bikes. That's cool. Like that Harley did that. So let me check the oil level, get these bags off, and then we'll continue on. Wow, these are different. I like the shock design. It's adjustable. This is the right side. Usually this was a slave, but you can adjust the preload on the right side, and the left side on this was like any other touring bike in the past, with the one adjuster there, where the new CVOs have it down here, but these are up here. But I'm going to put a 3/4 wrench on these, and I'm going to check that. I'm also going to check the tire pressure, set his tire pressure, and then that's it for critical fasteners. And that's it. Well, I also want to show you guys how I do the return, not the fall away, but it's a return on touring bikes. All right, so we'll make sure we get that done. Okay, guys, we're at the last step of the 1K service. Now, what are we testing? We are testing the return of the handlebars. On soft tails, it's called the fall away. On baggers, it's the return. And what do you need to do for that? It's quite simple. Get yourself some blue painter's tape. Find your center. Real easy to do here, because the center line of the tire is right here. I follow that line up. Now, what are we going to measure? Measure how far we could turn this tire one direction or the other. See where it starts to come back? So it would make a mark, but we'll have to use a tool that we know is pretty much centered. So let me get that set up and I'll show you exactly how it works. Okay, I got my Black Widow tire truer. Now, why did I get the tire truer out? Because it gives me a fixed point to measure off of. And what's important is when you get the bike up, you just don't jack up the front. You got to pick the bike up level. So I took out my Let's Roll dolly, got the bike level on the Let's Roll dolly. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my marker and we're going to move this until it starts to return. Right there. So what I'm going to move is mark it. Now we're going to center it back up. Now we're going to go in the opposite direction. Oh, see that? So we got some neck bearing adjustments to make. And how do you make that? That is made up underneath here, and I will take care of that when I'm off the camera, because it's a whole scenario on how to do that. And what I can do is maybe at another time I can show you how it's done. But this is a brand new motorcycle, and this is very important on the first 1,000 mile service that you do this. This way you know if your neck bearings are loose or they're tight. And now I gotta try tighten them up, see where they are, mark them, go from there. And then when they're basically even, then I'll measure them. But as you can see, no bueno. No bueno. So, I mean, let's try this one more time. Yeah. Even if I made the mark here, it's still not right. So I got some work to do here. What's important when you do this is you want to take off all the accessories you have on your handlebars, whether you have a phone mount or a cup holder or whatever you have on your handlebars. You want them to be stripped down to close to stock as possible. All right, everybody, that's it for this video. Hey guys, if you like this video, please give me a like and a subscribe. Don't forget to bang that bell notification. This way you get notified every time I upload a video. Until the next one, you guys live the best life you can. Ride often and ride hard.
Like and subscribe.